Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of the Open Concept Podcast, where we are breaking down unnecessary walls and barriers that stand in the way of greatness. I am your host, Brandon Smith, and our guest today, Ashley Ashton. What is happening?
Hey, Brandon. Yeah, thanks for having me here.
You feeling good today?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Thanks.
Right on, right on. Ashley of Raven Supply. Really looking forward to having our conversation today because you have a bit of an interesting story, and company does a lot of stuff with nonprofit, and really interested to hear more of that. But for the listeners here that don't know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. So, Ashley Ashton, I am the president at Raven Supply. We're a commercial industrial equipment supplier. So we supply hot water and steam heating equipment to like hospitals, food processors all across BC and the Yukon.
Yeah, and this was a role. I mean, we were talking offline, and I've known you for a little bit, but this was a role jumping into the presidential role there. That wasn't where you had initially thought it was going to be going. You had come into the company and kind of worked your way into a position very quickly, and they started to see a lot in you, and then moved yourself into the presidential role there. What was that journey like?
Yeah, it was, it's crazy how fast it happened now looking back at it. Like, I joined the Raven team back in 2012 as a project manager. And then, I continued going back to school, taking a few different courses in project management, finance, and everything, and kind of moved into more of a management leadership role. And then in 2016, I became a partner over at Raven. And at that time, I was like 24 years old. So it was, it was a lot to take on very quickly.
Were you always in management of some sort? I mean, this is a bit of a unique industry. I mean, that was probably not your first choice, if I'm guessing, was jumping into this company or this organization in the construction realm. Maybe I'm wrong, but what was it like the initial outlook for Ashley? What did that look like not when you were 24, but 19, 20, going to school? Tell us about where your head was before you got into the industry.
Yeah, so right before I started at Raven, I was actually a sales manager for a courier company. So local freight, small packages, that sort of thing. And that's actually where I met Brian, my late business partner. And before that, though, I mean, I was really trying to find my place, in the world. What did I want to do?
As you do,
right?
in your early 20s, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're doing, you're trying to figure it out.
Totally. Yeah. And I grew up on Vancouver Island, so in the Comox Valley. So I left the Comox Valley as soon as I graduated. I moved to Calgary, lived there with my sister and a couple roommates for a year. I made it one very cold winter and decided Alberta was not for me. And so I came back here in a couple different sales roles. But when I met Brian and his team over at Raven there through the freight company, after about a year, he asked if I was interested in joining the team, and I said no.
Why'd you say no?
I was happy where I was. I didn't. Yeah, I was happy doing freight, and I didn't necessarily know that. Getting into the construction industry was where I was going to be. I had previously thought that maybe I'd do real estate or become a teacher. Those are kind of the two things that I was considering, right? As coming out of high school and everything. But then after about a year, after Brian had offered me to join the team, I came back and asked if he was still looking for a project manager. And at that time too, the team was there was three of them in the office, and so I was the fourth. And yeah, now we're a team of 12, so growing, I think very quickly. It's been since, yeah, 2012, 13 years that I've been with the Raven team, and it's exciting to see how far we've gone for sure.
Working into that presidential role, because it's very different running and sort of taking the realm and the helm of the ship of the company from a project management perspective, and being able to integrate leadership tactics and strategy and really start to drive an organization. Those are two very different skills. What was the biggest learning curve, or for somebody that may be employed and they're looking to take that next step within an organization, what would you say most employers would be looking for somebody that's going to be stepping into a role like that? If they were really trying to find somebody that they wanted to groom to
Mhm.
move into maybe it's a presidential role, or even an ops manager role, a general manager role, but somebody to from integrating them into the company, what are some of the traits that you think stood out, or that allowed them to um, find themselves in a position where they just knew, they said, Ashley is the one that's going to help drive the company forward, take that leadership position, grow with us, grow within the industry, and really start leading the organization.
Mhm. I think one of the biggest things is taking initiative, right? It can look different for everybody, but really, there wasn't much that came across in those early years that I wasn't like ready, willing, and interested to get involved in. um, and just being curious, right? Learning everything that there is to know about the business. So not only I started as a project manager, so I did go do some project management courses, hydronic system design over at BCIT, but then I also went in, took some entrepreneurship courses, bookkeeping courses, just really trying to understand the bigger picture. Definitely taking advantage of, if your employer offers any sort of education, that paying for any education that you want to do. I took advantage of that, and I think it really showed, that I wanted to be a part of the company long term as well. And I had a great mentor with Brian there. He wanted to see us succeed, right? And he was looking to pass on the company to the next generation. So
How much is in that position? How much of does a mentor play in a role like that, or how much does a mentor play in a role in anybody's life? How important is that role of having mentorship?
oh, so important. Yeah, I know that I owe a lot of my success to all the opportunities that Brian had given me. Like I wouldn't be where I am today without his support and his guidance and everything. So yeah, I know when he passed away about 2 years ago now, and that's I I felt there was a void, right, in my day to day, and that's actually when I joined the coaching program where we met through as well, just looking for to fill the guidance portion, right?
Yeah, the guidance. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the coaches, the mentors that I've had in my life, because like you said, having, whether it's a voice to listen to or a sounding board to be heard, a bit of a, even if you're thinking you're making the right decision, or maybe you're making the wrong decision, but have somebody that's maybe done that before or has a different perspective than you, is going to allow really that opportunity to just try new things,
Hmm.
try it out, and you can learn from their mistakes and learn from their wisdom and learn from their guidance, versus messing it up and failing on your own, which is the half the fun, half the battle, half the challenge anyways. But if you can learn from other people's mistakes, then you're going to learn a lot faster than I think than learning from your own. Yeah, but the other thing though is there are certain things that you do need to learn by making mistakes on your own, that somebody can tell you time and time again. Like my mother will tell me, when I was a kid, don't cross the road, look both ways, something very basic like that. But you're always kind of like, do I have to? But you don't have to get hit by a car to know that you should look both ways. But some lessons you need to know. It's like, don't touch, the server comes and they bring the hot plate and they say, you know what, don't touch it. Don't touch the plate. The food's hot. And you're kind of like, well, how hot is it? And you burn yourself. You're like, ow. Well, why didn't you listen to that? I told you not to touch it. Like, say that, you know what I mean? Some of those mistakes you do have to just make on your own.
Yeah, definitely.
What sort of challenges have you found over the last few years? I mean, you saw the industry supply chain, I imagine, like all through COVID. That would have been a pretty weird time for you guys. But how did you manage all of that? What sort of challenges have you seen over the last few years in your industry?
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of supply chain challenges, deliveries, pricing uncertainty, really a lot of big factors that impact our business. We, we try and always keep like great communication with all of our partners, like letting them know as soon as we do know of a change coming. Um, but yeah, I mean, it changed the way we worked, right? That we didn't have people in the office for a little while there. Changed the way our vendors worked with us as well, not coming out on a regular basis. Like all of the vendors that we have, we are exclusive reps for BC and the Yukon. So they'd be doing, regular visits, kind of helping with some of the sales or more technical sales related activities. So yeah, pushing us to kind of get further into that area on our own as well. So, and then, now with our current issues across the border there, it's like, I'd say it's not really that unsimilar to kind of the challenges that we were facing through the COVID times, right? There's a lot of pricing uncertainty, a lot of delivery issues, that sort of thing. But yeah, once you've gone through it yourself, you kind of better prepared, I guess.
The complexity ceilings, like I find that once if you find yourself in a position that you've never been in before, it's kind of like the end of the world. But if you've been through these scenarios, I mean, we've been in business now for 15 years, and we've seen all sorts of challenges throughout the last few years, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Like there's always new challenges that you come up against, and at the time they seem like the end of the world. You have no idea what to do because you've never been through it before.
Mm-hmm.
But if the same problems come up now that came up 2 years ago, they just don't seem like problems anymore, simply because you've put in the time, the repetitions, and your lens is different, right? It's improved. You've been through the same challenges, and your capacity to manage stress, to manage these types of challenges has increased exponentially to allow for that. So I look at that and I'm like, man, why am I not, when things happen and I'm like, why isn't this stressing me out more? Or people will approach and they'll say, man, you seem really calm about the fact that this is happening. I'm like, I don't know, dealt with worse.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like the overarching idea that it's going to be okay. It's going to be better. Things are going to move. What you do, like the markets change, markets shift, and your business will perform as long as your leaders and your leadership team and the people that you have in your organization are on board and they know what to do, or they have a relatively good path that everybody's aligned on. You're going to be fine in most markets.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's, all part of growing and having a business too. Like, how do you build that, like show everybody the path, right? And help them along to achieve the things that your organization wants to achieve.
You have a leadership team in place, you have yourself, you have your partner, growing that. What are the next couple of years of Raven look like? We were talking off camera about looking to potentially relocate, but you've gone from when you joined the company, a team of 4 people to now a team of 12. now you're looking at expanding, and given the, some of the market challenges that maybe you're seeing, what does the next sort of like 3, 4, 5 years look like if you were to sit down with the team, and what direction do they feel like they're going in?
Yeah, so we do quite a bit of work with this. Actually, we run on EOS, so we do a lot of planning for our 3, 5, 10 year goals. But one of the big things, definitely growing the service side of our company. Right now, we're more of the just supply of equipment, and then we do some of the startups and whatnot through like subcontracting. So growing that side of it. And then yeah, we have to relocate here again. Will be our second time in the history of the company here. So going from that 4 person office to now an office that we have 12 people in, and we're packed in there. So trying to figure out exactly where that location's going to be, trying to map it out as to like where all our current team is and what makes sense to where we should have the office. But we are looking a lot into maybe other industries that we've kind of dabbled in before, 1 or 2 projects over in a year, but really trying to get more into those markets, more of the heavier like industrial type market. And then yeah, just continuing to try and work, like we work a lot with engineering firms, right, trying to get our products specified on different jobs. So we actually have a couple really exciting, the new long-term healthcare centers with our products specified on them. And yeah, and then also our goal is working with every community in BC and the Yukon to provide sustainable heating solutions. So a lot of that, and it reflects back onto Raven's values of educating and being curious and everything. So a huge training component to that. So again, BC, it's such a vast territory. And there's a lot of smaller communities that don't have like the resources that we have in the lower mainland here. So like our equipment needs like a class A gas fitter to start it up, right? But if you go up north, there's really not a whole lot of technicians out there with a class A gas fitting license, right? So how we're looking at how we can approach this in the years coming with the technical authorities and everything to try and make it more achievable for a class B technician to get their A class, without maybe having that direct one-on-one supervision that they call for now, and still getting the experience hours. So yeah, we're looking at a lot of that with like Indigenous communities in the province as well. I'm a Métis as myself, so that's something that it's important to me to try and make these communities kind of self-sustainable, right? They can service and maintain their own equipment, and then also growing the things that they're able to do, build their communities as well.
So one of the challenges right now is we have equipment that can only be installed and warranted by a Class A gas fitter. But given the fact that there are very few Class A gas fitters out there in other regions, trying to educate and close that gap between somebody that may have a Class B certification and getting them certified faster so that they can install this equipment rather than sending somebody from down, in a more populated area like Vancouver or Toronto or something like that, and sending them up north and having
Mhm.
them install that, really providing education to those uh, the Yukon areas and stuff that's areas that are further away, to give them the ability to really have a career and give them an opportunity to really grow themselves and install this type of equipment. Is that what I understand?
Yeah.
What does that look like? What is that barrier between that gap of lack of education now to getting this sustainable community? Or what is that gap? What are these challenges that we're looking at right now?
Yeah, so to become a Class A gas fitter, you have to have direct one-on-one supervision with another Class A gas fitter. So there's maybe half a dozen that we work with in all of the province here.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, I'm sure there's a few others out there that we don't work with at Raven. Um, but you can see with like those kind of numbers, it's hard for them to get the hours that they actually need. It's something like over 2,000 hours of direct one-on-one supervision. So there are some ways around it now where if you're working with a company that has has this technician on staff, support over the phone and whatnot. But why can't we, with the technology that's available today with different things and like AI and stuff, why can't we do it, like take it up to the next level, right? And actually get people, if it's like even a trailer with all the equipment in it and they're going through like a guided sort of lesson or something, right? To actually get these hours and then have that like recognized by TSBC.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So we've talked about in other industries just eliminating the requirements for compliance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're talking about here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is we have certain methodology that we have to follow to get these units installed in your case, but trying to eliminate the need for the level of compliance that we have, and that level of compliance being you need to have direct one-on-one supervision by somebody that is classified already to do this. And until we eliminate that single person that you have to have that one-on-one education with,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that there's, like you said, I think that there's no reason why we, with the technology that we have, it couldn't be done through video or through other channels, online, workshops at whether it's at school or other local locations or whatever to figure out and eliminate that barrier, because it is a real challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like we work with one technician now who's doing it on kind of other pieces of equipment, but even putting like a QR code that the technicians can scan, get the, critical information, the manuals, that sort of thing. But yeah, why not? Why can't we take it a step further, right? And
Yeah, and what are you finding as far as I'm going to ask you about the women in construction, because we're seeing a lot more women these days getting involved in construction, which is
Mhm.
awesome. Are you seeing the same thing on your end as far as women getting involved in the HVAC? Like we're seeing a lot of female female carpenters, drywallers, painters, tile setters. Like we're seeing a lot of women coming into the industry, which has been awesome. Whereas in the past, it was very rare that you would see a female on a construction site, because it's, for whatever reason, there was this stigma of this, you have to be a certain type, or it was only for men or whatever. But we are seeing a lot more of that on our end. Are you seeing the same thing in your industry?
It's definitely not as quick in our industry, I don't think. I mean, we have worked with a couple. There's some female foremans on some larger projects and whatnot, but I'd say more, um, in the in-office type roles, right? We have some female engineers that we've worked with over the years. But yeah, for the actual like technicians in the field, we haven't seen a whole lot of that. And that's something like we work with the Vancouver Sun Children's Fund, like doing funding for one of the high schools in Surrey that's near our office. They're classified as like an inner city school. So what we're looking at as well is like going in there, doing some different like presentations, just kind of giving more of an outlook as to like what is available in the construction industry as careers, because some different roles might not be everybody's interest, but there's so many different things, right? Like within our company we have engineers working that do some selections and sort of design assistance type thing, project management, but yeah, there's a few other female presidents that I know in the HVAC industry, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, HVAC is rocking. When you talk to home services and trades businesses and people that are looking at acquiring different trades businesses, HVAC is right up there.
Hmm. Definitely. Well, and like with New Vision there too, it's great to be in an industry that is always going to have demand, right? People are always going to need homes. People are always going to need heating and cooling. So Yeah.
Yeah, and it is an interesting industry all around because right now at this time, there's a huge demand for building homes and building houses because it wasn't 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago when we were talking about this housing crisis, and we need more. We need more doors to be built. We need more options. We need more opportunity. There's no inventory. There's a huge demand, but there's nothing there that people can buy. And fast forward to today, like not that far down the road in the market that we're in, there's a huge amount of inventory that's out there right now that's just sitting that people can't buy
Mhm.
or they're not interested in buying. And so when you look at that, the development side of things, I mean, condo development is slowing down exponentially. We've seen some big players recently lay off a huge amount of their staff because they've said, look, we will build these homes, but the cost of construction continues to go up and they need to make a certain dollar value, otherwise they're going to be at risk. But we're seeing government compliance and their different fees, ACC fees, DCC fees that are continuing to rise, and it's becoming more and more challenging to build. And a lot of developers are saying, you know what, if we can't get these costs down, then there's not enough demand. If people aren't going to buy these units that we're building, there's not going to be enough demand.
Yeah.
So let's not build anything and let's drive the demand up. And when the demand's there, then we'll build again. But we've seen a huge amount of development companies really shift their direction of what they're doing right now. But in the custom world, when you are working with homeowners, they will always need and always want something done. But there's always going to be market swings, whether it's going to be interest rates going out of whack, which we saw for a little while, but everything seems to normalize. And if something is happening very, very rapidly, nobody likes to make decisions when information is sort of out of control. But once it stabilizes, it all comes back together. And I just think that if your motto is one customer at a time, you're going to go out and you're going to impress that one customer every single time, over and over and over again. You're going to do really, really well. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Yeah, definitely. Relationships are so important too, right? And especially when you're working one-on-one with customers, like that's some of the best projects that we've worked on as well are ones that, we've gotten through relationships we have with mechanical contractors. They've brought it to us to help them design or work on because of that relationship that we have, right? And the confidence that we've built together throughout the years. So
let's go back to when you were thinking about real estate and when you were thinking about other industries other than kind of getting into this. Do you have any regrets at this point? Would you ever wonder, hey, I wonder what it would have been like if I didn't get into what I'm doing and I did take the route of realtor or whatever avenue you were thinking? Do you ever have those thoughts?
I do, yeah, but I honestly can't picture doing anything else now. I love what I do. I love the team that we're building and everybody that we work with on like the manufacturer side, the contractor side. Um, but yeah, I do follow quite a few like real estate agents and stuff online, watching all their stuff, and I it's definitely something that still interests me. But yeah, now I can't imagine doing anything else.
Talk about the you were mentioning earlier AI and the how we can use it to potentially bring forth that amount of education that's going to eliminate some of the compliance that we're talking about.
Mhm.
100%. But even like that industry, the real estate industry, I've had a number of realtor friends I've been talking to about AI in varying components, and it does come down to there are going to be certain areas of real estate that is going to be affected by AI negatively. It's going to eliminate a lot of jobs and the needs for a lot of realtors, but there are going to be certain areas where people are just going to want to work with people. in our industry and in the trades industry, we are going to be one of the last industries that would be affected negatively, I think, by AI. But there's so much out there right now that if you, as a trades company or home service business or any company at all, and you aren't using AI to your advantage, you are going to be falling behind. So it's important to know what tools are out there, what is going to be available. And I'm trying to learn as much as I can about what AI tech stack we can continue to integrate into the company and what's really going to help move the needle. But in the HVAC world, I was having this conversation with our project managers. Like, you're not going to get an AI Class A gas fitter.
No, definitely not.
Not anytime soon. But
No.
that was what we were thinking at one point, when it was like, all right, well, there's just going to be a bunch of robots going around, and they're going to be trained to go and build houses and fix taps and install equipment. And we're still a ways away from seeing that, which is great. But yeah, I'd be curious to know if you've had any further thoughts on AI and how that may affect your industry.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it at the office like quite often, right? And try and encourage the team to, if they see anything that's going to like make their job easier, or, a different AI tool that they've come across, like, let's talk about it, let's look at it. And because I think that really how it's going to affect our industry is more like each individual person is going to have to be more and more productive, right? And if you're not using AI, then you're going to be falling behind. You're going to be falling behind your competitors. You're going to be falling behind for just the timelines to deliver to your customer, right? So yeah, it's funny. I try and do some different like training sessions and stuff on the different things that I've learned and whatnot. But some of my team, like, they're quite a bit younger, and they're like, they do everything with AI nowadays. So it's great having that experience on the team as well, right? So
one of the best hires that I think any company can make is that AI implementation hire. Right. So if it is going to be somebody that is going to come in, they're going to be very familiar. They're going to be able to train them. Like, we have a number of staff in, various age ranges. And as I imagine you do, and in the trades specifically, your project managers are going to range anywhere from, 67 years old, 65, 55, mid 40s, 30s, 20s, like, you name it, but it's across the board, and everybody is going to have a different comfort level with AI specifically. And if you can make a very strategic hire with somebody that's going to keep an eye on the options that are going to be available for your company, or not even just your company, but your industry, and then how they're going to integrate that into your company, as well as teach and sit with the people that are maybe not as bought in, or they just don't understand it. They didn't come up with it. They didn't grow up with it. They don't know how it's going to impact their life positively, or have doubts. Somebody that can sit with them and really start to train them on how to use that is going to move any company faster, in a way faster than their competition.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to like see, and I don't know how you feel, but I am not excited for the day if there's like a full 100% AI takeoff done on a project. I don't think that that's going to go overly well. There's still things, like you said, that you're going to need the human touch, right? Looking over some of the jobs, making sure that everything's like quoted correctly, sized correctly.
I tell you, like, I get it, and it's like, it can be technical, but if you were to, as a contractor out there, if you're listening, as a bit of a hack, what you can do, you can take a set of plans, upload it to choose your AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude.ai or whatever, anything that can read and analyze images. You can upload a set of plans. Maybe it's 16 pages, 20 pages long. You can say, put together a proposal or do a material takeoff based on the room dimensions. Or if you wanted to put together a proposal, say, analyze these plans and build a compelling proposal as a home builder that's looking to build a home for a customer. scan all the details, do the deep work, make the assumptions that you need to make, and the exclusions that should probably be excluded that maybe aren't included in the drawings, and generate that as the proposal, and it will spit you out room dimensions and everything. Like it's wild how well it analyzes just basic plans, not even basic plans, but complex plans. It does have a tendency, for sure, it will hallucinate, but that's where the prompts come in, and that's where you need to continue to overlook the work that it's done. Mm-hmm. But with different components, there's what is it, Arch, there's room.ai. Like in our world, as a designer, like I'm terrified for the interior designers, and I need to get a designer in here to speak about their thoughts on this, that really knows these programs. But you can scan a room very easily, does it, and just choose whatever it is that you want, right? As far as the design, you want mid-century modern, boom, ultra modern, cool, farmhouse, whatever that is, contemporary, here. Like it'll give you styles, 6 styles, 8 styles, and it won't complain, right? It won't complain. It won't charge you a bunch of money for doing the extra work that you ask it to. But on top of that, really where I think the suppliers are going to want to get involved in is, if I'm a builder and I'm scanning a room or a house and I'm looking at doing a renovation, and I can generate that scope of work, and I can put that pricing structure, or get it relatively close. And I can be, hey, give it the prompts. This is what we're looking to do. Looking to add a bathroom over here, kitchen over here, new furnace and hot water tank over here. Then it will design that. It will spit out some rough pricing. And what it will do is it will carry a specification for things like countertops or millwork or flooring. And so as a supplier, you want to be saying, how do we become the spec in your AI process? How do we become the spec in your design, so that we know that if we're going through that process and designing something using artificial intelligence, the pricing that's coming up and the pricing that we're using is going to be reflective of the products that you carry. And that is going to be a huge thing and a huge push for a lot of manufacturers to get into, is to use those types of components, right? It's really no different than if you are a company and you're a home service business, or you're a lawyer, or you're a doctor, or you're a notary, or you're a physiotherapist, or whatever you are, and somebody's using GPT or Claude or any other AI search engine other than Google. Hey, give me a recommendation. I'm here. Who would you suggest I use? How are you going to be coming? How are you going to tailor your SEO? How are you going to, I use SEO. I don't even know if that'll end up being the term that we use, but how do we end up using GPT SEO to get in front of customers that are choosing to use these AI search functions more than programs that we've used in the past, like Google? And as a flooring supplier or whatever on from in the construction industry, how do you get your pricing and your products into the GPT that everybody else is going to be using, or the program that they're using to scan and use their pricing for, and how to get it to speak that language? And I don't know exactly where that's going. I don't think anybody does, but it's being worked on, and I'm really curious to see how that happens.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I'd definitely be interested in listening if you bring in an interior designer to hear their thoughts, because it's insane what ChatGPT can do for designs. I haven't figured out any good prompts for that yet on mine, but yeah.
I mean, I have lots of designer friends, and some I think are oblivious, and they're thinking, no one will ever be able to really replace this. And some are like, no, man, it does a great job. We're worried. We have 5 years. Like, we're going to do the most that we can with the systems that we have in the next 5 years. And then we are going to probably have to overhaul our entire operation. So I see it on different levels. I have a woman that's coming on. I've interviewed her before. She's building AI specifically for construction, and she's doing electrical. Right now, she's working with electrical organizations and general contractors to really do a lot of deep work. And the issue that she's running in is sort of compliance, but it would be, hey, here's the property. Give me a 3D rendering of the highest and best use, and analyze the property based on the zoning, the code, and possibilities to rezone this based on the municipalities that you're working in to build the highest and best structure. And we'll develop a full set of plans and 3D render, which is going to be free or for $50 a month. Something that you would pay an architect 75 grand to do is going to be, anybody's going to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. Where we draw the line, though, is where we decide we eliminate that compliance, having to have somebody that stamps off on the architectural drawings versus saying, hey, you know what? We're good. We don't need that anymore. We don't need a person that's gone to school and suffered and had heartache and stayed up late nights tearing out their hair for years and years and years and worked their way into an entry level job and then worked their way up into a company and finally got the stamp that they need to actually sign off on it.
Yeah.
That's where I think where we're going to be in control of AI is in how we use it at the human level. The capacity will be there, but as an architect, if that technology is there, then that makes your life pretty easy. Because if you're like, I would normally charge 70 grand to design this place and go through the building permit plans and everything else. If it's going to be done in 4 seconds, then that's cool. But if you want my stamp on it, I'm still going to charge you 70 grand.
Yeah.
I have a notary that work with upstairs, and we have to get declarations stamped when we finish, and we're getting approval to show that we've made payments to our subcontractors. And so I used to go up there, and we'd sit down, and he'd fill out all the forms with me, and we'd sign it, and he'd stamp it, and he'd charge me for it. And then at one point he just said, hey, here's a bunch of blank copies. You can fill it out yourself and then just pop up and I'll sign it and stamp it. I'm like, okay, well, or does that mean you're not going to charge me? Because he's like, you know what, man, I'm not here to fill out your paperwork. I'm charging you for my stamp.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
You can do the heavy lifting. I was like, that's a good point.
Yeah, definitely. It's, I think it's really like in so many industries, it's changing the way that introducing the internet changed industries, right? Like even looking back on construction, 90s, like you were still driving to the construction association office to look at plans, right? And how much quicker did we have to get with, how we all do business just because of the internet, right? And now with AI and ChatGPT, I think it's really kind of like that all over again, right? If you don't use it, you're going to be behind. When I first started with Raven, we were still getting faxes from some customers, right? Can you quote this? And just coming through on the fax machine, but you don't see that anymore. So yeah, I think that it's going to make some pretty significant changes, and you got to be willing to adapt and change your business plan to do that as well.
What are the nonprofit organizations like? How are you getting involved in a lot of the stuff we had talked about, education and really trying to bridge that gap and doing the work to continue to break down some of those barriers that stand in the way of getting the certifications needed to install this and providing career opportunities? What are you guys involved in? I'd love to. For our listeners to hear more about what you guys are involved in over there at Raven.
Yeah, thanks. So we have a couple of local programs that we support. So an after school program in Surrey as well for elementary school students. So it's like 3 days a week and they have somewhere to go. They do like different science activities or whatever they choose to do there. And then we do an emergency funds program for the high school in Surrey as well. So they give everything from like if somebody needs supplies for maybe like a work program they want to do, if they can't pay for their grad ticket or sports fees or something like that. So we fund those programs as well, and we have for quite a few years. And then one of the biggest nonprofit that we work with is Room to Read. And so they're actually working with like third world countries. So we've done projects with them in Nepal, India, Cambodia, Vietnam, Tanzania. We mainly focus on now with girl scholarships. So those they provide the funding and also the support, community support to ensure that girls are able to graduate and go on to post-secondary education. We've been partnered with them for over 10 years now, and we've raised over $300,000 for Room to Read. Generally, our projects are about 30 a year. But yeah, this year we're doing an even bigger contribution. We're trying to raise $75,000. So what we do with that, we work with our manufacturers. So we ask them for a discount on an order that we're working on. And then we apply that discount to the Room to Read projects. And then Raven Supply, we match every discount that we're given, every contribution from our customers as well. So a lot of our are the contractors that we work with contribute to it, and even down to like our service providers, the marketing company we use, our health insurance providers are all giving us discounts to apply to our Room to Read project. So yeah, 75,000. It was a big goal, that I set kind of at the beginning of the year here. And it was something that we've done that was always very important to my business partner as well. So I really wanted to try and do something, set a bigger goal this year to achieve. So yeah, we're actually just hit 54,000
Whoa,
raised.
already, and we're
Yeah.
we're halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Had some great help here this year with the fundraising as well from actually we brought in a marketing co-op student from UBC. So he's been helping me with a lot of that too. And it's amazing to see what we're able to achieve, and like, yeah, setting goals and bigger goals, and then how are you going to achieve them, right? But yeah, so Room to Read has been a big part of Raven Supply, and I always say too, it's like it's great to be able to connect with like the contractors you're working with, or maybe you're trying to work with a new vendor and you have something other to talk to them about besides like boilers and venting, right? Yeah, so it's a great program, and what really interested us about working with them is that like they run the organization like a business. It was started by somebody who used to work at Microsoft, and so that was always this thing, like low overhead. Make sure that the majority of every dollar is actually going to the cause. So, yeah, that's who we decided to partner with over 10 years ago, and it's a big part of everything that we do at Raven.
Awesome. And yeah, and just being able to get your suppliers and contractors that you work with to help out and contribute to that is awesome. That's really great to hear.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice putting together a little thank you card. We sell a large boiler for a manufacturing plant, and we send them a card after saying, purchase of your boiler provided, 5 girl scholarships in the country that we're working in that year. So yeah, this year it's in Vietnam that we're raising for. So yeah, it's kind of a little something extra, right? It's not when you're working with suppliers, you have so many different options, right? And all of the products that you're buying. So yeah, how do you show that you're different, that you're working towards something else, right? Besides just the bottom line.
Yeah. I need to get you in here to make the air conditioning in this room a little quieter so it doesn't get picked up on the microphone. Yeah, for those that are listening, we turned the AC on, but it's getting hot in here, but it was really starting to pick up the feed on the back of the mic, so we had to shut that down. Luckily, I have somebody here that can hopefully, I don't know, hook me up, and we can get somebody a scholarship for making it a little quieter so we can be a little more comfortable in here podcasting.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely have some people we can hook you up with there. We're mainly focused on the heating side of things, so
I don't need any more heat.
yeah, no, we're good.
Not today.
Here.
Not today. We need some cooling for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Outside of boilers, what what keeps you really excited? I know last time we were talking, you were on a bit of a fitness journey, and that was something that was starting to you were excited about. What else gets you up in the morning? What keeps you fired up? Keeps you excited?
Yeah, what keeps me excited? So yeah, definitely, there's certain things that I try and do every day. So yeah, working out every day, reading every day. Really am excited about like growing the company and like giving more people opportunities to like, to achieve more for themselves there. Um, you know, a lot of it too, like I look at what I kind of thought for my life in the younger years and where I have gotten to now. I never thought that my position or where I am, even, the where we're able to live, all of that I didn't really ever think any of that would be possible for me, growing up on the island, like I said, in a smaller town, kind of thinking that my life would look a lot similar to maybe that of my family, or just other people in town there that were the closest people around you, right? So yeah, just I feel like my outlook on the world has gotten so much bigger, right? And yeah, a big part of that too is like the working with the nonprofits, Room to Read, like how much providing opportunities to other people. I think is the biggest.
Seeing, I mean, the perspective change is getting out of your environment that you're used to. If you're somewhere and you're stuck and you're not too sure where you're going to go or what you want to do, or you're looking around and you know that it's just not for you, and you don't want to be there, changing your environment physically is one of the biggest and best hacks that you can use to really change your mindset. The second, which you mentioned there, is perspective, right? Working with some of these other countries and with some of these women that don't have nearly the same type of opportunity as one might have here, is it's eye opening, and it really changes the perspective. A few weeks ago, I coined a term, Sir Thriving.
Okay.
I'm calling it.
Yeah.
When somebody was asking me how I'm doing, we just had our second daughter, and it's tough. When people aren't sleeping and kids aren't sleeping and kids are crying and you're running a business, and it puts tension on the relationship between, yourself and your wife or your partner and your kids and your business and everything. It's like, man, some of these survival tactics just, they you go into that survival mode for a little bit. But from 30,000 feet, everything's good.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going well. You're thriving. But yeah, I don't know, that terms are thriving. I might put it on a t-shirt, something like that. Anyways, but that's come up a couple of times. Be like, yeah, hey, new kid. Like, I was walking up and down the street the other night, and I had her in the stroller, and she was just screaming. She just wouldn't go to sleep, and had a towel over her stroller so it would be a little dark. And neighbors are driving by, and a couple of them stopped, and like two of them in a row stopped to talk with them. Like, it's the best days of your life right now. And I'm like, are they? Are you sure? Like, I've had some pretty good times. I've had some pretty good days in my life. I don't know that I would qualify this as like the best day, but but the overarching picture is that it's awesome. But in that moment, it can be a little tough. An idea that I've been playing with as well is around joy and the investment into joy that you can make. And even though these little moments, you may not appreciate them in the moment, if you know that and understand that at some point in your life, you are going to be able to pull the joy out of that moment and feel it the same way that you would feel it in that time, it's still great. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go through something, you're going to feel 12 hours of joy, or, at 30 minutes of joy or 5 minutes of joy or whatever it is in that moment. If you don't feel that in that moment, that's okay. Because 2 years from now, 6 months from now, 10 years from now, whatever, you can still pull joy from those moments that you've had that just at that time maybe felt like they were really shitty. And that's what like when we go through difficult times in life, or you come up against challenges that you've never been at before and it feels crazy in 2 years, 3 years, you look back and those are the times that you always laugh about.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the stories that you always tell. And you're like, oh man, that was crazy, wasn't it? And you laugh and cheers over it or whatever you need to do. But I think even if moments that you can't find joy in right now, knowing that at some point you're going to be pulling joy from those moments, that's a good investment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, like when my business partner passed away there a couple of years ago, you know, we had some changes within the company as well. And I was just like, stress levels were off the charts, right? But now it's like, you know, I look back and it's like the issues that were happening like in the company at the time, it's like I hardly even remember them, right? Yeah, you keep going and look back and you know can appreciate what was happening at the time as well, right? So yeah, no, I think you know we try and do a lot, my husband and I, like you know getting out, even making time for each other like during the week and stuff as well. You don't just like want to come home, you know, eat dinner, do chores, go to bed kind of thing, right? So yeah, we have certain nights that we try and like go for a walk and stuff. We try and do our date nights once a week, and yeah, always hosting friends over on the weekends, that sort of thing. So yeah, try and even as busy as life gets with all the travels, I do a lot of traveling as well, all across really North America. I went to Europe earlier this year as well for business there. So yeah, making sure you take the time to like actually enjoy life and enjoy what you're building, right? Because the work is always going to be there.
A lot of entrepreneurs and executives, one of the things that they are really good at is working and getting stuff done. Something that they're really bad at is having fun
Yeah.
and enjoying what they're doing, because they feel guilty. I'm guilty of that as well. You know, I'm out and I'm like, man, I should really be having fun right now, but why can't I have fun? It's like, well, in the back of my mind, I feel like maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm not, like, I should be making this call or getting back to this email. And it came down to just making the decision to honoring my calendar and really trying to be where my 2 feet are at that time. And my wife will tell you, she thinks I'm the worst at it and thinks that my mind is always elsewhere, which is maybe true. It's been true for a long time. I've been told that. But over the last number of years have noticeably tried to make vast improvements in having fun and trying to be more present in the things that are going on in my life. And a lot of that comes with eliminating things that are distractions, eliminating things out of your life that aren't moving things forward. The things like if you're really focusing on the things that you value most, the 3 or 4 primary things in your life, and you eliminate everything else, frees up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
it really allows you to go deeper into those moments and those times that you do care about. And it's going to move forward the things in your life that matter most the way that you want it to.
Yeah.
But you can't do everything, and you can't do too much.
Yeah.
If you want to be good at it and you want it to be meaningful.
Yeah, definitely.
Ashley, where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram is Ashley Ashton _Raven, or LinkedIn. I'm on there quite often as well. So
Awesome. We'll make sure that we put that in the show notes. Do you have any closing last words of wisdom you'd like to leave anybody before we head out for the afternoon? Thanks for sitting here with me. By the way, I know it's been warm in here since we had to turn that AC off. So I appreciate you hanging in there.
yeah, no problem at all. No, yeah, thanks for having me, Brandon. I really appreciate it, and it was nice chatting with you today.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you for everybody else that's listening right now, that's still out there and with us. Until next time, have a great day. Rock and roll. See ya.
Bye.